documenting the heartbeat of Jamaica, 1 month at a time.
At this point, we pause to reflect on October. At the end of each month, the learning journey will produce an overview for historical documentation. Please support the channel by subscribing and sharing the work. All right, today we are diving deep into a single absolutely critical month for Jamaica, October 2025. And look, this isn't just, a list of things that happened. It's really the story of how a nation's true character gets put to the test. We're talking about a moment where everything just collided. Politics, celebration, tragedy, and a storm like no other. So let's get our bearings with a quick timeline, because really to get the full picture of just how massive this storm's impact was, you first have to understand what was going on in Jamaica right before it hit. It gives you this incredible snapshot of a country already juggling so much. So yeah, early October, it's pretty much business as usual. You've got the typical rhythm of life, fiery political debates, amazing cultural celebrations, and that constant tough fight against crime. So there's just been an election, and right away, the new government and the opposition are kind of at a stalemate. Now, they both agreed on one big thing. Jamaica should become a republic, but they were completely split on a super important question. What's going to be the country's final court of appeal? This whole debate was basically setting the stage for everything else politically. Here's what's so fascinating. While all this political stuff is happening, the country was actually making some huge strides in public safety. I mean, get this, the murder rate had dropped by a whopping 41% compared to the year before. That's not just a small dip. That felt like a real potential turning point. And then that progress was just shattered. On October 5th, a mass shooting in Linstead took 5 lives, and one of them was a 4-year-old kid. It was just an awful, horrific act. You can see the Prime Minister's reaction here. It was a brutal reminder of just how fragile all that progress really was. But life does go on. On October 20th, the entire country just took a moment to pause and celebrate its heroes. We're talking about everyone from top business leaders and legendary athletes to an incredibly brave 13-year-old boy. It was just this amazing moment of national pride, really showing off the absolute best of the Jamaican spirit. So you have this rhythm, right? The good, the bad, the political, but that entire cadence of the country was about to be completely obliterated by something nobody saw coming. At least, not at this scale. It started off pretty quietly. Just another tropical storm. The authorities were tracking it. They even had the hashtag Eye on Melissa. Pretty standard stuff for hurricane season. Then, as it got closer to Jamaica, things took a really scary turn. The storm just exploded in strength. It hit this patch of super warm Caribbean water and went through what they call rapid intensification. We're talking about it gaining terrifying power in just a few hours, and the result, sustained winds hit 185 miles per hour. And let that sink in, 185. That is absolutely catastrophic. It puts Melissa right up there with the most powerful Atlantic hurricanes ever. And on October 28th, it made a direct hit. It slammed into the island as a full-blown Category 5 hurricane. This wasn't just another bad storm. This was literally the strongest storm to ever make landfall in Jamaica's entire recorded history. It was even stronger than the legendary Hurricane Gilbert. And this is where the story gets even bigger. Scientists were all over this, and they pretty much immediately said, look, a storm this powerful, it's just not something that could happen without climate change. So it's not just some random act of nature. It's a clear symptom of a much larger global problem. So what happens after the storm passes? Well, the immediate result was a total economic shockwave. It was like a year's worth of hard-won. Economic progress just got erased, poof, in a couple of hours. The numbers here really paint a stark picture. Before Melissa hit, the economy was on track to grow by about 2.1%. Not bad, right? Well, after the storm, analysts were saying forget growth. The country was now looking at negative growth for the year. Just a complete 180, and the damage was just everywhere. It hit every single key part of the economy. The country's breadbasket region for farming flattened the tourism industry, which is so crucial, crippled right before the busy season. And then you have the basics like power. A huge chunk of the national grid was just knocked out. So the devastation was absolutely immense. But, and this is a really important, but Jamaica was not caught completely off guard. This is where years of planning and being smart with money really paid off. They had a response plan and it was ready to roll. First up, they had something called a catastrophe bond. It's basically a special kind of insurance for massive disasters. And because they had it, it triggered an immediate payout. We're talking 24 billion Jamaican dollars flowing in right away to start funding the recovery. Then on top of that, another 15 billion came in from a regional insurance fund. It's this pool that Caribbean countries pay into for exactly this reason. They weren't done. They also had 6 billion more in their own national fund. So you add all that up, that's over 40 billion Jamaican dollars. And the key here is that this is money they have right now without having to go into more debt to rebuild. That's a huge deal. That incredible financial planning at home was met with this just massive wave of global support. You had partners like the US and Japan sending in teams and supplies. You had the UN and RACOM providing food and grants. And of course, the Jamaican diaspora all over the world just sprang into action, launching huge fundraising drives. It was a global effort. So you look back at October 2025, and it was without a doubt a crisis that tested Jamaica in every way imaginable. But it also showed something else, didn't it? It revealed this incredible deep well of resilience. It proved that when you combine smart preparation with national unity and help from friends around the world, you can find a way forward. You can build back even from total devastation. Be on the lookout for our November review.